open meeting of the Berlin Historical Commission. It is April 11th at about 10:14, 10:15. And attending today, Eleanor,
Here.
and Barry,
Here.
Hager, Jim, here, and Jean Miller. We're missing Lucy Ayers this morning. We are being recorded and videoed.
You are subject to being
Subject.
recorded, and both your image and your
Voice. Did everyone have a chance to look at my minutes from the 28th? They were corrected, revised, I should say, because Lucy wanted a couple of things added on, which I did, not directly from her notes, but,
all right, that was another site visit.
Yeah, that was when we met at the town hall to look at the
To
parking
look at
lot
the plans that we didn't spend much time looking at.
Yeah, exactly.
so, can we move to approve, or,
I move to approve the March 28th plan as revised.
I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimously approved. Okay, that's good. Now, Barry has minutes from the 20th, which he's passed out to us. Do we want to read them silently and then vote?
I think that's as good a way to do it as any.
Okay. They sound great. The only thing I see is would, in the third to the last paragraph, the spell checkers did a homonym on you,
No, that could be.
how this would could be removed.
Oh.
Yep,
Yep, it must have, because I sure wouldn't have typed that.
nope, nope.
Okay. I don't like it when computers correct me.
No,
You can turn
well,
it
now
off, but
there's
it's
AI.
Sometimes
There's
they
Copilot.
obviously do it and it's good, but
Yeah.
it's like,
the word is spelled correctly, but it's not necessarily the right word.
among other things, yeah.
Can we have a motion to approve with?
I move to approve.
And I second. And I
Okay.
don't have to keep seconding, somebody else can do it if they want to.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimously approved. Okay, good. Lucy did, I can't even remember which meeting she dictated from her
She
computer.
read the minutes.
Minutes. And she said she would finish them up, but I think other than that, and I have asked her to bring those forward to us. But other than that, I think I'll just go over some of the dates that we're missing. And if there were votes that day, I'll try to write minutes.
Write the votes for them.
Yeah, yeah.
I have some notes, but they're kind of scant.
Yeah. Well,
I sure, probably do.
I probably won't do it for a week or so, but I'll see if I can get some other minutes together so that we can not be so behind.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe it's difficult for Lucy.
When you get behind the 8 ball on stuff like this, it's a real problem.
Trying to catch up is hard, yeah.
It's very hard, yeah. Okay, the financials, everything is the same except the ARPA. We had an old bill from Hancock and we're not using them anymore. However, it depleted our ARPA funds of $55,452 by $1,200. We've paid 2 invoices to Austin Design that I've seen, and 1 to Howard Stein Hudson. So the grand total so far expended is $9,425.
Out of the 50-something.
55,000.
Yeah, so we've got 45 and change left. And I don't know of any other invoices. They send them to Kristen, and we review them. We don't
Yeah, there are
actually.
those 2 that we looked at the last time.
Yes,
Uh,
and that's one of the Austin ones and this one.
Okay, and we had the other one before that, the
Yeah.
original Austin one before that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 3 in addition to that early Hancock one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's one thing that's procedural that I didn't put on the agenda, and that is Maureen from CPAC asked us to vote to reappoint Ellie to
Yeah.
the CPAC, to CPAC, to be our representative. So let's,
Move to appoint Ellie to the Community Preservation Act Committee.
okay, is there a
How
second?
does Ellie feel
I
about
don't
that?
mind.
She's smiling, so I guess it's okay.
You almost didn't
I
give her a
have to
chance.
say that meeting twice a month is painful, but there
Yeah.
are almost always Zoom meetings, so it's not really.
Well, that helps.
And Tim really tries to keep the meeting to an hour, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's good to keep a meeting
Yeah.
going.
Well, he has so many.
Yeah,
It's worth his while to have
Yeah.
a strategy, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so did anyone second the motion?
No, but I will.
Okay,
Did I already?
I think so.
Yeah,
okay.
I think I
So
did,
moved
too.
and seconded to reappoint Ellie as our CPAC rep.
And that's a 3-year term?
I think it's 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I have to go back, I think, do the ethics
Yeah,
quiz again. I did
Yeah.
that online, it wasn't online. Yeah, it was online, the training
Yeah.
session. But then he said in the beginning that it didn't count for doing the actual
conflict of
quiz.
interest, or is this different?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it was
that
good
thing,
for
you went to
training,
that other meeting, yes. You still have to do the thing
but you still
online.
have to do the online quiz. So, I
But
gotta-
when did you do, did you do one before when you got on here?
yes, but you still have to do it every 2 years or 2
Yeah.
or
You're
3
supposed
years.
to do it every 2
2 or
years.
3 years, yeah.
Mine is up in June.
Oh,
I looked it up.
I'm way
Right.
overdue, but you only have to do it once, even if you have multiple positions.
That's true.
But the thing needs to go to the town clerk that it was.
And Maureen had said something about, if you do the online, everybody needs to do the online, and then that will count, but in fact, he said that it didn't. so, I mean, the
They
guy
changed
that
their
was doing
rules.
the ethics training said
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
but it was a good review anyway, but, it's annoying that it doesn't count.
So,
It certainly is.
so we need to vote.
Well, the thing with the thing online is it deals with it all electronically and the record comes back automatically and all that.
Yes.
All that stuff is done
And,
automatically.
and
if you do
the
it that way.
training seminar, they knew who logged in, but not who was paying attention the whole time.
Yes,
you know.
that's right.
You
That's
could
right.
set it up, turn off the video and walk away.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Do I
Aye.
count?
Yes.
Sure.
aye,
Mhm.
Yep,
Oh, yes.
yep, you're a vested interest.
I generally would suggest you not make the motion, but yeah, you do vote.
Okay. So we have a few things under the Bullard House. One is the bathroom area. Apparently Lucy took Mickey Gibbons into the Bullard House last week. And he had a look at those wet timbers. And according to her email that she sent to all of us,
Well,
Yeah.
Basically, you concluded exactly what we had
I was
already
gonna
said.
say, it was already what Barry had thought.
Already what we already knew.
It
Well,
was
it's nice
just,
to affirm things, though,
yeah,
'cause
Yeah.
well, he's in the business.
Yeah.
Well, the thing was,
presumably.
I wanted to know, what can we do to remedy,
fix
I
it,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
what
What-
ideas would he have about getting it out of there and what that would, might
Well,
amount to?
He didn't explore that much, but he did say that he could research maybe a way to encapsulate the timbers, but I think that was just,
I don't know that that's the right way to go.
I
no.
don't think so. He said you might be able to do that, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't still cause trouble.
I would think that we've got it open and available,
Oh, yeah.
and we should just fix it so that it doesn't cause
Right.
problems down the road.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the trouble is, it's really, it's in between stuff and so forth.
It
and
is,
it's
but
gonna
at
have to
least
be ripped apart.
The bathroom is not,
No, that's right.
finished.
Oh, yeah, at least you're not dealing with taking off finish. I
Um,
agree, I think it should be fixed before it's covered up.
yeah.
Mhm.
we don't have a commitment from Mickey Gibbons to repair it. We just have this promise to check out the encapsulation, possibility, and that's all we have. She didn't get any further with him than that. But according to her message that she sent to me this morning, he is interested in the project management. Which to me would mean that he wouldn't, if we were
Wouldn't be
to,
able to do contracts.
right,
Yeah.
if indeed we want him to do, that happens, then we'd have to get someone else to do anything, actual work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, is
Well,
that's how
that's-
that works, is it? The project manager cannot,
well, it should be independent of
Yes,
the
yeah.
actual work being done.
Yes.
yeah.
So we're at a standstill there, and I'm not sure that, I don't know how to proceed.
Well, if we want to entertain that, we should have him come to and see us and talk to him,
Okay.
have him in a
We-
meeting.
I've-
I'm not happy with secondhand stuff at this point.
No.
I'm very displeased with getting secondhand
Right.
information.
Also, I'm not sure that he has a
License.
construction supervisory license, a CSL.
Ah,
I don't know.
well,
mean,
that's one of the
based on-
questions.
Based on our experience with them and all we had to do in order to get him paid, it's, we shouldn't have to be doing that. I'm really getting, sort of on the edge of things that I've done that really aren't, that just extend the work that we have to do for no good reason, except that we're just filling in for someone who isn't, you know, not reliable, but on the ball, let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
I suspect he
this-
hasn't had to deal with municipal projects before.
Well,
Are you-
according to Chris
No, he
Kelly,
has.
according to Chris Kelly, who came and spoke to us once, and is his partner apparently,
They had.
they have.
June, get me straight on the people. Who are we talking about? Is it, is it?
Gib Kell.
Okay, Gib Kell, so it's
Gib-
Mickey
it's
Gibbs.
Gibbons and.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make
Kelly.
sure I was
Yeah.
now getting the right people in
Yeah.
the story.
It's the
Okay.
two partners.
They're partners
Oh,
apparently.
okay,
yeah.
all right,
And one of them has done project management,
okay. How
presents
did I miss
himself as a
that?
potential project manager.
And that was Chris Kelly.
And
that
that
was
was
Chris.
Kelly.
So it's not clear to me from Lucy's message that it would actually be Mickey doing the management, although he is the one that met her at the Bullard House and also went to the basement. One of her comments was that he wanted to go there after a hard rain
Yeah,
to see for himself
the water.
what the outcome is of that. All right, we could set up a meeting to have one or both of them come and talk to us. And let's have our questions ready for them, because I don't feel a lot of confidence in just the procedural.
Well, we do
Details.
have to be careful about qualifications. It goes back to when we built the chimney and we had this veteran mason who came and did the chimney and did a wonderful job and it was all great. But he'd let his license to be a contractor lapse, so
Oh.
all of a sudden we had a to-do over that with the
Mhm.
building inspector. And he finally signed the thing and let it go, but it was, you know, it wasn't supposed to be. And doing work for the town at the time,
It wasn't like it is now, but still.
well, you still
Excuse
needed to
me.
have a licensed person doing contract work on the town property.
Well, after all, it's
Because the
public
building
money and you're
inspector can't,
responsible. Yeah,
I mean, to approve the work and stuff, is supposed to be
Yeah,
a licensed person work doing it. So the problem with not having a licensed person is, and we've talked about that in regard to Paul and some other things, so we ought to be careful about those things.
Can I just ask again?
Sure.
Mickey is one,
Mickey
and the other
Gibbons
person that you
is-
mentioned
is Christopher Kelly, and, you know, I'm assuming that you were, do you remember meeting Chris Kelly?
Yes,
at a
I
meeting
do,
here? Yeah.
I do. I just don't
Yeah.
remember things as well as I used to,
Yeah.
so I have to ask again
Yeah,
sometimes.
so,
Yeah.
Mickey I've met on site,
Mhm.
but he hasn't come to a meeting. It was Chris that came to a meeting,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes, I do remember
Yeah.
that, sitting right over there.
So what's your feeling about, Lucy says in her message to me this morning to try to set up a meeting to go over, to do just what Barry has suggested, to
Yeah.
talk to him about how he would address the project management.
Mhm. Okay.
And I asked her to let us know if we need to change our regular meeting time, but I haven't heard back, so.
And so
I'm reluctant
present
to
at that meeting would be just Mickey, or would it also be Christopher? Is that-
Well, it could, I don't know. It could be both of them or one of them, probably. She seems to infer that it would
I'm
be
not
Mickey.
satisfied with having one member of the commission talk to somebody like that,
Yeah, and go forward on that,
and,
yeah.
I'm not, we've got to all know what's going on.
Yeah.
And we've got to be able to ask all of those questions, which might or might not be asked if, and I mean, I can forget to ask things just as much as anybody else. But,
Sure.
in order that we know it and we record it and everybody knows we've asked all the questions we wanted to, I think it's the only way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm not confident that Friday is a good time to include Lucy. I mean, I know that she probably doesn't have an appointment every single Friday, but we've had meetings on Thursday and that didn't work either, even though Thursday was determined to be a good day.
Well, I have a doctor's appointment on the May 9th meeting.
Okay, so,
I'd like to be able to change that one anyway.
okay. So, before, well,
It doesn't matter before or after
the
that day.
9th, that would be,
That's a Friday.
it probably wouldn't be good to have it, the town meeting is the 5th.
Yes, Barry will be tied up with that.
Well, I think we need to find, let's finish this meeting and whatever we've got from it, if there's people we wanna see or whatever, we'll try to arrange a meeting that we can
Okay.
deal with all that.
All right. Okay, I did speak to Kristen yesterday. No, Wednesday. Spoke to her Wednesday. And we went over a couple of things. One being the minutes that I wrote with feedback on the Austin design plans. That was the most important thing. And I hadn't sent her the minutes because we hadn't approved them yet.
Yeah.
But I did give her a print copy and so that she could see, our comments. Because she needs to get back to Austin.
Well, I've looked at those plans some more since the meeting, and I think we really goofed because we meant to go over those plans and we never really did it. And there really is a lot in them. One of the things that I have concluded from it, and I've talked to Lee Tabor a little bit about it, and June, and Lucy's desire to come up with a ramp from the street. There's about as much difference from the street up to that door as there is coming down from the parking lot. In other words, you're gonna have to, about as much ramp
Yeah, when I was
built
standing
into
there, I
the
thought,
lawn instead
it's
of coming down
halfway.
from the
It-
back.
It's basically halfway,
It's about halfway.
yeah. Because someone said 3 feet, and I said, no, it's more than that. And when I was standing there, it's like, yeah, no.
Wait.
If you stand there, you can see that,
Yeah, and it's 4 to 5 feet going up from the street, and it's 4.78 or something coming
Coming
down from
down.
the other place.
So it doesn't really
according to
matter.
the plan.
yeah.
And so I don't know why and then you've still got to get from a parking space to that on the street. And that's a nasty thing for somebody to have to negotiate in a wheelchair.
So your thought right now in terms of the two options, going up the hill and going across the lawn, do you have a,
Well, no, we were just saying it doesn't matter. You're going to have the same,
amount of
Same
construction?
distance.
Complexity, yeah,
Distant,
yeah.
yeah.
You're gonna
Um,
still have the complexity of it, and I have to say, at least coming down from up back, it's sort of hidden. And the thing coming up from the street, it's gonna take up that lawn.
It's hideous. My
We'd have to
God.
at least go up and do an L to get to it,
You know,
and we
Tim
might
was
have to
playing-
do a
I
switchback.
think you're going to have to do a zigzag, yeah.
We might have to do a switchback, so Lee and I were looking at that and trying to figure it. We didn't make a drawing or anything, but just chatting about it. It's gonna be about as significant a ramp as you're gonna have coming down from up back, and you're gonna have to put rails on
Railings
it
on
if
it,
it's,
yeah.
if it's a ramp. So I don't think that's gonna make make the place look great.
No.
I
mean,
can't
that's
support
what
that
we
as an
didn't want to
option.
put the
just can't.
The parking spot there, even now it wouldn't fit, but before,
Oh,
you know,
no.
it was like, it's
You know,
a visual thing.
Tim was playing with it a little bit the other night with me, without any serious intent, but, and he had figured out a way that the Bullard House could have a huge front yard by changing
Oh, Woodard Avenue's end.
Woodard Avenue's end. And I looked at it and I said, you know, why hasn't anybody brought this up? And so I don't know whether he would say, because I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't think, I mean, I think he thought it was just another one of those, like a third viable option, and it would give the Bullard House a lot more lawn space. And so I should actually bring you that, or show it to you guys, just because it is a suggestion. It isn't anything that you might grab onto, but we should look at everything.
Well,
I
it's
suppose.
intriguing,
Yeah.
and we've never thought in terms of changing the street significantly. And that doesn't mean it couldn't be, especially as part of this
I say
plan that's being
that
done.
complete streets thing.
So.
Would you like me to have Tim draw you a little sketch so that, is it worth it to?
Well, I'm thinking about it because it also could have something to do with what has been the concerns about that intersection. And if you did away with the part of it that goes right up in front of the house and, you know,
Yeah.
move the street away,
Then you
that,
could have an actual sidewalk.
yeah,
You'd have room for a sidewalk.
well, yes, you would.
This idea is just to enhance our front yard. It's not to create accessibility.
I think it's both. I think it's.
It could be.
Yeah, so that, I'm not even gonna try to explain it, because I may explain it wrong and then it'll be
No, I
stuck in
understand.
people's heads. But I'll have him do a little sketch and send it off to you guys and see if it looks like it's even worth, you know.
The concept,
talking about.
I mean, you'd gain some space, and it would be space that you could put a parking space in, for instance.
And it would be, well, yeah, we'll see. I'm not
Well-
gonna try to speak for it until I.
I
The
don't know.
upshot of considering this is asking the architect to do more work.
Yeah.
And
Well,
more
some-
money, more work. We can't have an idea without it being,
Expensive.
I mean, we can't proceed
Yes.
with it.
Yes.
We can't proceed with anything more unless we're willing to spend more money. So,
Well, and we
And
would
I'm-
have to look at the option, just because, you know, it's hard to know, you know, how much more construction and all is gonna be needed, or does it turn out in the long run to be less, you know, until you look at the proposal, it's gonna be
Well,
hard to know.
the piece that enters in terms of what Lucy was talking about last meeting, I think that, I mean, you've got to do this, the town needs to do the parking lot for the town hall. They need to do the parking lot
Yeah,
for the town hall.
that's gonna happen
What's there
anyway.
now is not adequate, it will not meet the state regulation, and if, as it sits right now, somebody can come up there with a wheelchair and address a complaint to the Architectural Access Board, and the town's gonna be stuck to do something. And because it's not meeting the regulation as it sits. So therefore, they kinda need to do at least pavement up there, and if they expand the lot so it's big enough to back out and turn around to go out, why not put the ramp on there and have our thing done?
I really don't support having parking in the front yard. I guess I just put it right out there to everybody.
Well, I
Because,
think my issue is with Barry. They're gonna do it anyway. Why don't we just leverage our issue and
right, we voted to do that almost 2 years ago, before Ellie and Lucy were on the
Well,
on
if
the
I
commission.
draw a little design and hand it out to each of you, and you really are so against this, you don't even want to look at it, don't look at it. I don't care if you look at it. But I also feel like I've been pretty quiet on this, and I didn't have this other thought in my mind. And so I'd like to be represented too, and to have you say, no, we're not doing that. And that's fine with me, but I don't like being told, don't bring it up, because that's not fine,
Oh,
you know. So anyway, so we should
I'm
skip,
just-
we
I'm-
should skip it, because it hasn't even been proposed. And I'll just show you.
I'm
and-
just saying that I don't support parking in the front yard, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, got it, I got that.
But an advantage to having a larger front yard is certainly not a
Well, I
bad.
think the advantage of having a sidewalk, so that it extends all the way in front of the town hall and then down to the corner where there's an actual crosswalk would be nice too.
Well, we can throw it in there and just say it's too late, we've already gotten too far. I mean, you know, I don't mind, I will take whatever people vote on, but
Well, I think,
it made me think about
I think my
something.
issue is, you know, that, as Barry has said, the parking lot is going to get done
needs
anyway.
to be done.
Mhm.
So we're gonna lose a lot of our backyard anyway, even if we don't use the ramp.
Right.
That's already been determined. So, I mean, the argument that if we put the parking in the front, that we'll save our backyard isn't gonna happen.
I think, well, I'm not gonna go any farther, because it's sort of silly without having something to show
Yeah.
you.
That's all right.
And so we can move on, but I'll show you anyway, because I think it's important.
Yeah. I think, I also was looking at the pictures of the septic tank. Somewhere in the midst of whatever, I'm trying to remember where I saw them now, but, oh, they're my own pictures. Marty took pictures from my camera card and put them on a zip drive like that for me. And I think that some of my concern, I think there's room enough. I don't think the tank is as big as I was remembering it in terms of how much it's spread out to the thing. So it should, I think it should work with the plan, but it is something they've got to be careful about.
Yeah, we don't want it to be damaged.
No, no.
It hasn't even been used.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're gonna get in there and do the work with that thing there that they can't go onto,
Yeah.
so, I don't know.
From
course-
above, I guess.
Having watched the Von Gelderns take trees down this week, they had this god-awful tall crane thing there, and they were cutting the trees and taking them out over the house,
that
and
amazing?
over the bullet house, and,
You're thinking, don't drop it, please, don't.
yeah,
That-
yeah. Now they got a pile of logs on their land up next to the curatorial building.
It's so hard having such small space to work in.
Yeah, well, that's right.
It really is.
Yeah.
We're trying to do almost miracles, but we're gonna do
Yeah,
it, so.
but at the same time, it's gonna be, they've gotta have a heck of a bill. As I said to him, I said, and are you gonna eat this month? After getting that done? Oh.
It'll
Anyway,
be interesting to see the
Okay.
finished product.
The, heating and cooling packet, you're done as far as you know,
As far as I know,
and
we have the bill, we have the town packet, the facility study.
okay,
We have the existing conditions. We have the measurements, and then Marty and I marked all of the spots and numbered them so that you can match it up with the pictures. Because otherwise, a lot of them, you
Yeah.
couldn't place them.
yeah, they look similar.
They all look the same. So,
these two things are cold air returns.
there's vents there.
Yeah, but they're cold, they're
We took,
cold air.
we took pictures of all the vents.
Yeah.
I didn't try to
Yeah.
figure out whether they were
Discriminate
hot,
them.
cold, or nothing.
Well, these are the only ones that are cold. That's why I said it, because those are the only ones that are cold air. That's that take air down. The other thing that you need to know is there were two vents in the bathroom before.
But there's nothing there
One
now.
against this wall and one in the floor out in the middle. And the ducts are there to this, as far as this wall, but the ends of them and so forth are gone, and they would have to be replaced and so on. But that's the other thing I would say, is that there are ducts that go, there were two more ducts. There were two ducts for the kitchen, here and here, and there were two ducts for the bathroom. One that came to here, one that came to here.
So they're still underneath the floor?
Well, they're under the floor as far as the ramp. They don't go into the bathroom. When he took them, when he did the wall,
Dan, Tommy, yeah.
Tommy Dorr did the wall, he took out the stuff that was where the bathroom is, but there was, the ends of the two vents are there, the ends of the two,
The ducts.
ducts are there,
Maybe just put a note
yeah.
that,
There are two
They-
ducts that went to the,
Yeah.
went to the bathroom, but they are no longer, the vents are no longer there.
You could put just a note 1 and note
Yeah.
2.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you might wanna think a little about how you wanna do them, but, as long as they, just, that's another piece of it.
Is there anything else anyone can think of that should go in the packet? That seems like everything we
I was
had listed.
looking, I was looking at the list of what was recommended,
Mhm.
and they said, the existing conditions, the floor plan and the functionality, and the measurements, the National Grid bill, the Veritas report, and then the photos of the ductwork in the cellar, the vents, locations, and the breaker box.
Did you do photos of the ductwork down cellar?
Yes, so
Yeah.
do you wanna?
Yeah, you wanna,
Okay.
have a look?
I always like
Well, you
having
can
a
just
look,
say something, she'll hear it.
because I can't always visualize.
Brittany, I think we're ready to do pictures.
She can hear us.
If she's listening, she'll,
Yeah.
She
so-
always is listening.
Well, while we drone on.
Yeah. Well, we're exhausting almost
did-
every possibility, let's say that we never,
I did send Tim Wysocki an email telling him that your packet. Oh,
You're not ready.
I'm not
We're
ready,
not
I'm
ready.
sorry.
It's
I
okay.
don't think I computed what was necessary.
Oh.
They must have a remote for this one. All right, let's see what your computer has for ports. Oh, beautiful.
look at that blue,
Yeah,
bluer than blue.
Now, hopefully your computer will just recognize it. There you go. And then,
Look at that rock. Amazing.
there you go.
now let's see if I can,
oh, yeah.
There we go.
Okay, and you've got numbers on them that go with the plan, so.
Yeah.
The two at the top are in the entrance room.
Well, that's the only way I could figure out how to,
Oh, I think that's good.
Mm.
I think it's good, excellent.
so that one,
The one with the
Eight.
paint around it is in the dining room,
it's in the,
In the, yeah,
in the baseboard.
in the gallery, yeah,
But it's in the baseboard, it's
Yeah.
not on the floor.
right.
That's upstairs.
The two top ones are the kitchen.
Oh, the kitchen.
The other two, I think, are in baseboard ones in the, they might be upstairs.
They're upstairs.
Yeah. It's these two.
They're these two. Okay.
Oh, yeah, those two, yeah, in the ballroom. And the top left one is in the little bedroom. And
Yes.
the one at the right is in the other front room, I
Yeah.
think.
And then 15 and 16, they're kind of in the wall, and one is on one
All right.
room and one's on the other room.
Those aren't actually, those were vents. There used to be a little bit of a thing coming up in the front room and into the back room, and it was to catch the heat from the wood stove downstairs. There's no duct going to those.
No,
There's no duct going to the bottom one, the two bottom pictures. The others have ducts going to them, but that one does not. That's not really part of the
we took everything.
hot air. Oh, yeah, I understand that. But that's not part of the hot air system, forced hot air system.
Okay, so we've 16 vents, okay.
It's the electric panel and the list of circuits, which I need to go over because it's probably changed since I dealt with it last. I should spend some time up there and check all of that again.
Well,
Make sure the list is up to date.
you gotta go when it's warmer. The day that Marty and I
Oh,
were
yeah.
there,
Oh.
I swear the house was 10 degrees colder than outside.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrible.
Well, right now.
That was a bad day.
Right now, on a nice warm day, you need to open it all up and let the wind blow through.
Yeah.
Now, that was a new box when the first year in '96, we put in a new entrance. And look how rusty it is, being in that cellar.
I think that cellar is not kind to anything.
Well, the problem is that water that comes in. If that water was coming in there, the occasions that it does, I don't think it was that wet before. I don't mean it would never be damp, but it wasn't like it is now. That stuff in the cellar. The big square thing is the cold air.
Oh, I see where we are. of that cistern or whatever it is,
Mhm.
Yeah.
gives me my bearings.
Mm-hmm,
Yes.
mm-hmm.
He was standing at the oil tank and
Yeah.
Yeah.
shooting backwards, or back towards the
Mm-hmm.
stairs.
And I need to go down there and sort out the wires too.
There's the furnace.
Yeah.
And the thing on the right is the stovepipe going to the chimney from
Mm-hmm.
the furnace. The lower one on the right. And that's an insulated pipe.
This is,
Who took these pictures?
Marty.
Marty did. Okay.
And all around things, other than that one I mentioned, are ducts going out to various places in the house.
Let's see now, where are we? There's Ellie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's the cistern again,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right in front
so
of
he's
you.
still in the same place?
Mm-hmm.
Well, mostly the same place.
We have to leave that cistern there for a while because it's sort of our focal point, so
It's
we
our
know where we
our
are.
landmark, right?
Yeah, landmark, that's the word.
It's a landmark I could do without.
Yeah, and it's such a mystery, that's the weird thing.
There's the box and the tank. That column, is that newish?
No, it's been there for a long time. It was there, I think it was there
When
we
you
got the
bought it?
place.
When,
Yeah.
Hmm.
It just supports that summer beam,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing.
Yes. I know that much about construction.
the support?
Support, you gotta hold things up.
That support that's there, the wooden one, is not important structural. They put it in there when they were doing the beam across the front of the sill across the front of the house to support that beam when they took the support out.
Mhm.
And after the new one is in and all, it shouldn't be required. They just left it there.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
that was to support that other girt until they got the new sill in.
What is that now? Oh, okay.
It's looking toward the old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And there's the,
I need to go do something else. How
You-
much more agenda do we have?
Not much.
Not much, I guess. We just need to make a date for a meeting in, the West School, if you wanted to talk about the West School a little bit more.
I'd like to talk about it, but I don't know what to say, so.
So are we good with these, I think?
I think they were good.
Yeah.
It's, hopefully these will be useful for reference, I don't know.
Oh, there are a lot of them.
Did we see
clear.
these? Oh, that's where
That's kind of going back into the,
yeah. And that goes into
Go
the,
down.
go down,
I want to go down to the next one.
okay.
On the right-hand edge of that, toward the right, in the middle of the picture there, is where there's a junction and there's a new duct that goes in to do the entrance room. It doesn't really show that part, but that's where that goes in to go to the entrance room. And that was all new stuff that we put in more recently.
All right, and that's underneath the big,
Well, it goes out of that box at the right-hand edge of this picture.
oh,
It goes out of the other side of it. This is the duct that goes out to the one vent in the front room on the side toward the town hall. And that one didn't have much for heat because it had the wood stove in it, so.
okay. I think we've looked at all of,
Okay, let's finish the business.
Thank you, Marty.
okay.
I think if at the next meeting you wanna have people like GibTel come, then we need to think when we can have a meeting with them.
which would be, yes, but we can't meet on May 9th.
No,
So
No.
when do you want to meet? Do you want to meet before that?
I'd just as soon keep out of that week. How about doing it the next week?
So,
The Friday, the 16th?
all right, do you want to have it on she didn't get back to me about,
Availability.
so
Say May 16th?
April 16th would be our regular meeting date.
Well, it would be a Friday, it'd just be a week.
April
late.
what?
April 16th isn't a Friday, is it?
May,
Oh, I'm
we're
sorry.
talking about May.
I'm sorry, May.
May, okay, good.
Yep, sorry.
No, that's fine.
15th wouldn't be the regular meeting date.
16th.
16.
16th wouldn't be, because that's the third week.
That's right, but the 9th, I
Oh.
have a doctor's
Yeah,
appointment in Boston.
okay. So you're talking about doing the 16th.
So, yeah, just moving it up a week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Moving it back a week, so we're saying 16th is what we're saying, okay.
Possibly then, yeah.
Maybe,
At 10
maybe the
o'clock.
16th, maybe a
And if
meeting.
If we can have some of those people come at that date or another date,
And this would be GibCal?
try, if they wanted to do it a different day,
we could-
circulate another suggestion to us,
Mhm.
Could be the day before, Thursday, the 15th.
maybe.
Well, that's just because I don't understand Lucy's schedule.
I think Lucy's schedule, when the call comes the day of the meeting, it could be anything, including unfinished minutes.
Well, that's true, but these are the people that she's
Yep.
interested in having us talk to, so I would hope that she would want to be here. Okay,
She'll do what she can, I'm sure.
yeah. All right, I did speak also to Kristen about the money that we have for project management, the 30K that we can spend, and that CMRPC, one of our, our focus in talking to them is help with organizing project management and
Mhm.
maybe finding more money to do that. So I asked her if we should just wait until we meet again with CMRPC. She said perhaps there's a polite way to ask them what the time frame is for
Sure.
us to meet with them again.
Mhm.
They meet a lot by Zoom, I think. Do you want to be part of that meeting, or do you want Janet and I to carry
I
on?
think the two of you can,
I just have to post it, that's all.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, when it's arranged, if any
Yeah.
of us that can come.
Right, I'll let you know, and then
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
post it if I need to, if you want to come. The only other, well, the West School, the thing that bothers me is that the warrant article calls it the Legion Home.
That's what happens when a foreign person writes the warrant.
And there's no recognition unless one of us speaks up that it was a school and that it is our only survivor that looks,
that
Like-
still looks like it was.
yeah. On Saturday, I'll talk about that a little tiny bit. And there'll be, Marty took lots of photos that day that we went there to visit, and those will be available for people to look at on this machine. No, I don't want it distracting the whole room. I just want
Yeah.
people to be able to view what it actually looks like inside and out.
Mhm.
I should be writing something about the whole thing. And I put a little bit of it into these minutes, but I should write something about it and get it on, out on social media and whatever else.
Okay.
Because we really, we aren't including the public in it enough, and that's what we need to do. I don't know that's gonna do any good. The powers that be are doing what they wanna do. They're taking away people's health insurance. They're taking away the right to elect officers. They're doing all kinds of things in this meeting, and I don't like. But I'm gonna have my hands full because the school people are dragging people in to vote for school money, so we're gonna have another big fiasco of a meeting. On an annual town meeting, it's a pain. And they wanna change the order of the business in the meeting to suit them, so that the school things come up first, so that they can
Yeah, have a
Okay.
lot.
have the parents and the kids in the other room, and, oh my goodness, it stays too late, and somebody's gonna have a MEMCAS test tomorrow, and, I mean, it's all this crapola about, that they wanna dictate the order of the meeting to suit themselves,
The school committee,
some
Well,
of the
some-
parents.
some of the,
And Kristen has organized the meeting so the budget is the first thing in, she's got 3 articles that are past stuff. And then all the stuff for this year's meeting and stuff. The first thing is the budget, and they're not happy with having the budget taken up in order, because the school comes toward the end of it, they wanna have the school taken up first. And I don't know whether that's gonna happen or not. I have to talk to the finance committee about it. Because the finance committee makes the motions under that article.
So when does the school come up right now?
Comes up as part of Article 4, the budget,
So-
but it's late in the budget rather
Yeah.
than first in the budget. And we've always done the budget in order.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I really want to take this one and then that one and have it turned
Yeah,
it into
chunks.
something that's more confusing to me.
Well, I think it does get confusing when you go out of order.
I couldn't agree more.
It's hard enough to follow it as it is, because people start to talk and you can't remember where you were.
And they're belly aching about how late it was last year when we were doing it, and I said, yeah, but we had 2 hours of debate on that. That's why it was so late,
Yeah.
and there's no way to control what the debate is gonna be. So,
That's the beauty and the pain of a public meeting.
well, that's I mean, it's a deliberative assembly, and
If people have
I
questions,
tried to explain
they ask.
that to him, that you can only control it about so much, and then it just is what it turns into. And they wanna be able, well, we want it so that vote is up front, and it's like, we might have 2 hours of debate on it before we vote on it, even if it's up front.
Yeah.
So, they don't understand enough about it to.
The last thing that I had on here was our Article 14, which is our clothing preservation.
Yeah,
And I'm hoping that I can last long enough in a chair to defend that.
oh,
So, see, this morning, I'm okay, I'm not really good, but I know that it's gonna be over soon, so,
Yeah.
so I can,
yeah,
and I can stand up if I have to, but I'm just putting that out there because I don't, someone needs to defend it. And if I can't sit any longer, if it's been 2.5 hours, that's probably too long for me to be
That's
sitting.
your leg that's
Yeah,
causing-
yeah, so,
Can you get up and walk around at all, or do you feel that's
well,
inappropriate?
I don't think you're supposed to do that, are you?
if sitting is a hardship for anyone, please speak to the moderator.
Oh,
The
okay,
moderator
go.
can give you some,
some
figure
freedom,
out a way to make it
freedom to
comfortable
let
for you.
me roam
You
around.
can get up and, you certainly can get up and walk out of the room and walk around outside, somewhere else in the building.
Or come later, maybe.
Well, the thing
We
is,
can fix an
it's,
upholstered seat for you up on the stage in back of us.
I also think we need to view moments like this as a disability. And
Well,
so-
that's why
yeah.
I have the thing of speak to the
Right,
moderator,
right.
is because it becomes a disability.
And you
The
can't
problem
cut
is there's so
someone
many
out.
people that wanna stand up in the back, and it causes trouble.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
That's what I was-
noisy, it's everything, it's just awful. But if somebody's got a hardship for it,
Right.
yeah.
Right,
you-
and I
you
would
can do
consider it
that,
a
and
hardship if somebody has to get up
We'll
and
make
leave
it,
because,
we'll make a thing about that and figure that out.
yeah.
If you wanna bring a different chair or whatever, that's
Mhm.
also fine,
Mhm.
but I've gotta decide where it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you
Alright.
draw the line?
That's just about because of how you have to regulate the room.
That's
But
right.
no, that's all right.
I don't
and-
envy you.
It would, you could probably stand up behind Eloise and sit down behind Eloise and just have anything you want up there. You can't speak from up there, you gotta go down to the microphone to speak, but you could,
Well, I think I'll sit with the rest of the people and just, if we have an understanding, I can get up and,
get up
Stretch.
and move around if you
Yeah.
need to, but you also need to, think about the chair and whether those
Well,
chairs
I
are
do-
suitable or not.
yeah, I do have at home, I have like a little seat that fits in, and sometimes that helps, but
Yeah,
there's just no rhyme or reason to it. And,
Okay.
and the weather,
okay.
Mhm.
like today's not
We
so
need
good.
to
Weather's
keep
horrible.
going. I need to get,
Okay, to go. We did
what
get,
time is it?
11:15.
Okay.
We did get one piece of mail, and that's for our septic tank. It says, read it. I don't really
This is
understand.
to certify the installation of the septic tank has been done and approved, and the plan is there, and it's approved, and the issuance of the certificate is not a guarantee that the system will function as it designs, but it means it's certified and it's done, and they think it's done correctly. This is Bill Brookins'
Yeah,
approval
the
of
thing that
approval of the installation, and there's the plan
yeah,
to go with it.
the
So
thing
that's all
is
right.
that
That just needs
it's
to be
only,
filed
it
in our
expires,
bullet house stuff.
it expires, at the end of July and 26. What does that mean? I should have asked him because I saw him the other day, but he was busy. Does that mean that we have to have a Title V inspection when we're not even using it? What does that mean? Maybe they'll just waive, this certificate expires.
This is a certificate of compliance, that we've done what the plan says and so forth, and that it's certified. I don't understand why it would
That's the part.
expire so soon.
Yeah, that's the part I don't get.
Yeah, I don't
Because
understand that.
If it's a normal home, you don't have an expiry date.
I wouldn't think so.
This isn't, I guess it's a commercial, but still,
Yeah, we gotta find out what he means by
they have
that.
to come and inspect it every 2 years?
And then there's a comment, the backwash from water purification or filtration devices cannot discharge into the subsurface sewage disposal system per Title V.
Yeah, we don't have any of that.
We don't have a water filter or,
No.
yet.
I had that in the house in Derby Road, and I had to have it fixed before I could sell it.
Now, this is old, but for some reason it was in my box this past week.
So
Because,
it's been sitting someplace else,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, they
Because-
just got the paper out on it. They did just, this is when they got the
well,
paper
it's
out.
2
that's
years, a year ago.
all. Huh?
Approved on 2/20/24.
Oh,
He signed it at the end of July 24.
I think
Wow.
it's been sitting.
I'll
with
just
somebody
find
else.
out
Well,
about this
this
part.
was about, the plan was then, but this thing is that certified it through that date.
Okay,
But we do need to find out what's the
Means.
significance of that,
all right, I'll find out.
yeah.
Okay.
Jim, can I just peek at that for
Oh,
1 second?
sure,
Yeah.
yep. The other paperwork that we got last year wasn't the same as that. I don't know, maybe that's a different certificate, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, well, we'll make a file of those things. I don't know where we have it all now, but
I
we'll,
have one at home
okay,
that are copies from way back, actually, and forward,
yeah,
that we got from the office.
Yeah.
okay.
And then I have, of course, whatever they've sent to us.
When
Since
we're
then.
doing this work.
Yeah. Okay, so my job is to find out if we can meet the 16th or the 15th of May, and whether
Or
Gibkel.
some other day, if need be.
But Tuesday is not good. Wednesday is not good for us. So
Yeah.
so it's really Monday or Thursday. Is that right?
Or Friday.
Or Friday, if
I'd
that's,
like to keep it Friday if
if possible.
it's
Well, I've
just
asked her.
convenient, you know, cause I know.
Yeah, I've asked her in a text message, when I replied to her voicemail, so. Okay, motion to adjourn then, I guess.
I move to adjourn.
Second, anybody?
Second?
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous.